I'm Evelyn, and I'm a geoholic.
All right, day 3. What an amazing 3 days we've had. Hello.
Oh, absolutely. This place is packed. Technology is out of this world. It's awesome.
Yeah. Have you gone many of the sessions?
I've been presenting, so I haven't had the chance.
That's right. How did your presentations go?
They went well. It's an open platform in the exhibit hall, so you got to be loud. You got to have some energy.
Yeah. Large and in charge.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right. We got our first interview for the day. So we're excited to have this conversation. We've got Rhea with us. Rhea, if you would, just name who with much different.
Well, thank you for having me. So I'm Rhea Garratt, and I work for Pix4D. I'm a product manager.
Okay. Tell everybody what Pix4D is first.
So Pix4D is a global company. We're based in Switzerland. That's where our headquarters are. And so we're a photogrammetry company, but that's not just what we're all about. So we have great, platforms on mobile, cloud, desktop, to really help our customers generate the data they need.
Yep, and this is photogrammetry, right?
Right, that's the basis of our technology.
But you can use LiDAR from your phone as well.
Well, you can.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so much you can do. Yeah.
All right. So, tell us kind of like what separates Pix4D from maybe solid like that. So it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I think we started with photogrammetry, but we really built upon that. And now we offer, especially for the geospatial industry, let's say, we offer these 3 connected platforms, which is mobile, desktop, and cloud. So it includes all 3. And I think that's our strength because you can use all 3 to get the job done. But we're also really hardware agnostic. So especially in terms of processing, we'll accept data, image data, LiDAR data, and you can combine all of these in our products to then get the results we need.
Yeah. We collect data in so many different ways, right? There's LiDAR, there's photogrammetry, there's SLAM, there's mobile, everything these days. I mean, what is Pix4D doing to exist in this multi-sensor world we're in right now?
Yeah, exactly. So we really try to stay informed as much as possible of what's out there, because as mentioned, we want to stay hardware agnostic, and that means compatible with all sorts of formats, really, and all sorts of data sets. So as you mentioned, there's LiDAR, there's different types of sensors, SLAM as well. We're looking into that. We're talking to a few companies. We just worked with Share, for example, where we're looking at trying to support, handheld LiDAR devices and see how that's going. So really trying to take all this technology into account and find ways to make it easier for our customers to bring all this data in our applications and process it really easily.
Can confirm.
I mean, you're a subscriber to a subscription-based platform.
Yeah, it is. So we really tried to be flexible because we know that not everyone needs our solutions all the time. So it goes from a monthly subscription to a 3-year subscription. So it really depends on what you need.
It's all
correct, or your device, or PC, or pad, whatever you've got. It's web-based. So the cloud is web-based. So it's really nice to be able to share this information with clients, with colleagues, and that's a strong point that I like, is that you're saying the shareability. Yes.
That point. I mean, just to go over real quick on the workflow. So you'll capture your data. You can use our mobile application, and so that mobile application will leverage your phone sensor, but also your LiDAR sensor if you have one. So typically on an iPhone. But then you can, capture drone data, whatever data really you need, aerial, terrestrial, and then you can choose whether you bring it into our desktop application, Pix4D, or our cloud application. And then processing there is more automatic. That's it. In Pix4D, that's where you can really bring all these different data sets together. And once you get the results you need, with a click, you can just upload these to the cloud, and it's a collaborative, secure environment where you can collaborate basically with your stakeholders. And then we can even finish the loop. So you go from the cloud, you can stream data back to the phone and then view it with augmented reality. So let's say, you went to capture pipes on an open trench just because before it was closed. You have this data on the cloud, And then you can go back to that site, stream that info on your mobile phone, and then see the pipes basically while you're walking inside.
Absolutely. That's a great example. Good application for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now I did this on a new manhole, right? It wasn't an existing sewage manhole. I put my phone, I used flagging, tied it to a stick, put it down in the hole and did a Pix4D catch inside the manhole. Yeah. But I left the rod in there. For the measurements. Right. So I created the model, and it wasn't perfect in there. It was my first time doing it, but you can see the size of the pipe because the rod is down there. It's relative. It might not, I hadn't geo-referenced it yet, but the rod doesn't lie. You can still read it. So I knew it was an 8-inch pipe. So it's a good tool. I wouldn't recommend putting your phone in the manhole, but if you do, make sure it's a dry one. But I've heard there's so many, we'll just call them cowboys out there that are just taking this technology and kind of running with it in whatever workflow that they can develop it in. So I'm sure you're shocked by some of the things that you see.
It's pretty exciting. No, and actually that's one of the examples I had, the one you just gave, because it's something now that we're looking into, because there are more and more people who actually attempting this. But I think it's really interesting how people are taking, what we're providing them with. We have an idea. I mean, we always try to, based on customer feedback, we'll try to develop the right solutions, but then people take it and then they do stuff with it. And it's really nice to discover also what ideas they come up with our technology.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a great learning tool to use as a tool when you're teaching 3D scanning, photogrammetry, all this stuff, because especially the Pix4D, I was telling you earlier, when I go to a school, I can use that and they can see it. They can put it in their hands. They all have a phone. We can do a scan. I can download it, email the link to the teacher. The teacher can email or text, whatever, and the kids get it on their phone. This 3D scan that we just did. And that is awesome. So,
I mean, that's why I love this technology, because it's so visual. As soon as you can show things, like, it becomes tangible and you understand really what you're doing and why. And then this thing about sharing the link, it's so easy that, as I mentioned, with a click, you push things to the cloud. And then there's just that link that you can share with people, and they don't need, account credentials, a login, whatever. It's just there to share. I mean, you choose on just to say, like, the data is secure. But if you choose to share that link, then they can just access models.
Yeah, for a surveyor, it's great because we're there when the trenches are open. We can take a picture of it and you can text that, but it's not the same. And when they can get the model in their hand, one use case I can give you, there's a trench that's open. They're putting in these they're water structures. So it's an irrigation pipe that's going in, and they have to pour concrete in the bottom. Well, the plans call for thrust blocks underneath the irrigation lines. Well, they were just cutting the pipe and using pieces of pipe as the shim to shim it up. And I walked around the trench maybe 3 times. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'm going to send this to the engineer, because essentially we're the eyes and the ears for the engineer back. He was in Dallas. I sent him the link. He opens it up. My phone rings not 2 minutes later. Hey, what the hell are they doing? You can't do that. They've got to put thrust blocks in there. He's like, tell him to stop right now. I said, you tell him to stop. I'll give you the information. But, right there, that knows how much that saved in time and money and cost him.
Yeah, it's a great way to communicate. I mean, we've been using maps for a long time, right? 2D maps, but now we're moving to the 3D world. I mean, it's been a while now already, but making that so easily shareable, then that's like sending a message, but like an augmented message, really, and people then can interpret it themselves, react to it, and so you can communicate through that platform.
Right, and then your PC models, you get a lot more toggleability with the cloud, and you can sample it, you can do other things with it.
Yeah, so the big difference between the desktop platform and the cloud one is on the cloud, processing is automatic. So, you send up your data and then it'll just take care of it for you. But then if you need to tweak some of the results, if you need specific file formats, we give you access to all the little buttons to push that you may need to push, basically, to make the model more your own.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
Glad you could join us this morning.
I'm glad to be joined.
Did you have fun last night?
Oh, we had a blast.
Yeah, we did have a blast. What I remember, we had a really good time.
I remember everything vividly, and it was amazing.
What was your favorite part that you can remember?
Definitely the Regal party at
that was awesome.
At the Mayo Wolf or whatever that was.
I always wanted to go to one of those. So I'm glad I got to do that.
Cool.
Super cool. All right. Let's get rolling on this one. This is going to be a lot of fun. New friend of the program.
New friend of the program. We're super excited.
Yep. Andy, if you would, real quick, just give us your name, who you're with, and what you do.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I'm Andy Ives with Langan Engineering. I'm one of the principals there. Help oversee our 125-person land surveying group. Langan's a 2,200-person consulting engineering firm, so we do anything ground and down. And Russ Hall's with us too from Langan, and he invited me to the program. It's great.
That is awesome, Russ.
Hey,
tell us who you are,
Russ.
Tell us who you are.
I am Russ from Langan Engineering and the Geoholics.
Yeah, everybody knows Russ. Right?
Everybody knows Russ.
Russ.
For sure. So talk about how, tell us a little bit more about Langan in general and how the survey component is integrated into the other disciplines.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. So we are, fully integrated. So we try to do the one-stop shop for our clients. So that way, something might come in for the site civil group, but that client wants to have a one point of contact for environmental, geotech, survey, traffic, hazardous building materials. So when we get in those requests, we put in together one proposal and we get that out to the client, and that way they're just talking to that one person, but we're working as a team behind the scenes within Langan. It doesn't matter what office we're in. We have offices up and down the East Coast, down through Florida, Texas. We're starting to fill in some spaces in the Midwest and also out in California. And we do a really good job of even sharing staff across those areas, so we can make sure that even if we have a national client, they're getting the same product. It doesn't matter if it's in Connecticut or Boston or out in our San Francisco office. So we try to make sure we're well integrated together.
Nice. And on that note, what do you see as the biggest strategic value this survey provides for your internal clients and external clients, I guess?
Oh, absolutely. It's so we're part of the discussion right from the beginning, so we can find out is this a complete demo site where they're going to put up a new building? Well, we don't need to get as much detail in the middle of the site, but we're going to make sure we have a lot of detail on our touchdowns. And the roadway stuff is extremely important. Whereas being part of the conversation in the beginning, if it's going to be an addition for a library or a school, we're going to get a lot of detail on the facades of those buildings and make sure we understand what that design is going to entail. Where we have to tie into our utilities. Those conversations happen on a daily basis within our office. So it makes it so much easier for the end client, which is usually going to be our civil group or environmental group. They have the data they need to be able to do the design they need for our client. So it makes it smooth.
Yeah.
We got to add to that, Russ.
Yeah, Russ.
I would like to add about Langan, at least in the survey department, do a really good job of, if someone's passionate about something or they want to do something different in their career path, like let's say they want to scan or something, I feel like we do a good job of putting those people in the position of something they want to do and also to succeed at it.
Right. We're not rigid in exactly what we do. I mean, there's obviously we have to do boundary and topo. We have to do, we do scanning. But if there's somebody that's passionate about something, we're very entrepreneurial in nature. When Russ and I actually started at Langan in 2012, we didn't do a lot of construction stakeout, but Russ and I had a lot of experience in that. And now we do a tremendous amount of stakeout in the Northeast because it's something we were able to bring to the table.
Sure.
It made business sense. Nobody told us no, as long as you can, you got to make a dollar or two doing it. But we were passionate about it. And, 14 years later, we do a tremendous amount of stakeout in the Northeast.
Yeah. You guys get involved with some pretty cool projects too, from my experience. Like, talk about some of the cool projects you're working on now. Like, what's something noteworthy that you can think of that you guys are on now?
So one of the problems is that we're primarily private sector, so it's hard to talk about a lot of jobs. For at least on the reality capture side, we did a 4,000-mile collection for an energy company so they could clear the trees.
Oh, okay.
4,000?
Yeah, it was 1,000 in like 2
What?
months with one scanner.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Holy crap.
But it gives them better data. I think Pointera kind of did a presentation on it, a similar thing earlier at GeoWeek. But it gives them a much better detail about the branches that could be affecting the lines. Bless you.
Thank you.
So that one was really cool. And then is there anything from terrestrial that Sean's got cooking that you can talk about?
Yeah, so and again, we'll try to stay relatively generic, but there's a a company in Eastern New York that's doing a whole new campus. So we're doing all the scanning for the steel as it goes up, so they can make sure as true as-built. So that way, whenever they're putting in the space, they can make sure everything fits. So that's a 2.5-year project. That's really cool. The data centers and renewables are still pretty hot in the Northeast and northern, even the central part of the country. But data centers, Texas, here in Colorado, Wyoming, also Virginia are large, and they just want those projects done as quickly as possible. So we try to do as much data fusion as we can, where we're approaching the boundary with a more traditional survey, but we get Russ and the team with the reality capture team in there. So we're scanning it with the TRK and the roadways. We're flying it with one of our drones, and then we're also filling in a lot of space with maybe a BLK to go or something like that, and just trying to bring all this data together as quickly as possible. And that helps spread some of the workload around too. So we have a team that does extraction. They can be working on that while a couple of surveyors are working on the boundary plan, and it's because they want everything done. You think you could do things in a month and a half, they want it done in 3 weeks, that kind of stuff. It's a fascinating.
And talk about a little bit more on the deliverable for the client. Like what are they getting from all of this, boundary and scanning? So
a lot of times it's your basic map sometimes, right? Just because it's got to be part of the plan set, whether it's for local permitting, anything like that. But we can't stray away from that too much. It still has to be a PDF map deliverable, an Alta survey probably. But on top of that, we have many clients that are actually requesting for LiDAR point clouds. And then also imagery. Viewers are huge right now. So you're really running the gauntlet of really maximizing that technology and trying to deliver something that's cutting edge to your client, but they still need that basic signed and sealed survey, right? You got to be able to put it all together to get them what they need throughout the project.
Yeah, well said. It's almost like consulting firms are becoming like data management companies.
Starting to, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. We have many calls about data management throughout the year.
Because it's not just how it's we have a lot of data to manage, but as more and more clients are having requirements of what your IT group does and certain certifications that you guys ISOs, it's really regulating how we can store that data. There's easier ways to skin that cat, but we have to make sure that we're staying compliant, because that, we're required to have that compliance for a lot of our contracts throughout the company. So it's not just in survey. If we do work we do embassy work, international stuff, we have to have, we have to adhere to the needs for that project, even on a 4,000 mile collection for a power company. Even though it has nothing to do with them, we still have to comply to that. So it's complicated, and Russ and John Sue at our group are constantly trying to figure out how can we store data and stay compliant with all these regulations.
But keep the same without adding more friction points to it, right?
That's keep the same accessibility.
Yes.
Yep. I like that.
And it seems like that's something that a lot of firms are dealing with now. Is just, I think that's the next step. Is you get all this data, it's all available, but now we need to think about security and how we do it.
And the computers that we're processing it with, what is that interconnected to? Is there anybody that could access that data? I mean, one of Russ's best jokes, he's like, I could just go to Best Buy and buy the computer that I need to process this data, but none of that complies with anything we're doing. So we can't.
I say that when I'm frustrated.
He's like, I'm just going to go buy a computer. So that is definitely, you have to maintain that. You have to keep a lot of people on your team in the know of what we're doing and how we're doing it, so they can try to come up with a solution for the data processing and data management.
Yeah, it's just funny, like you can't really talk about the project, but then behind the scenes, a couple clicks away, you can have every detail you possibly can imagine about what's going on.
Especially some of our more sensitive clients. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
A really big deal. And that's why not having cloud hosted data is very, very important. And for some of our clients.
They will not allow some of the other scanners, it goes to a website and then they do the registration or whatever. They will not allow that at some of these other companies.
Because where we start to get into critical infrastructure, right?
Yes. Giving away, like someone else is holding on to their everything.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many pluses and minuses. Like for every time there's a plus, there's going to be a minus to it. So you have to sum up all your pluses on one side and sum up your minuses on the other, and which process is going to get you more pluses.
Yeah. So you mentioned you do primarily private work.
Yes.
Right. So how do you guys, I mean, it's a super competitive market, obviously. How do you guys differentiate yourselves from others that, are like Langan?
And the
Well,
survey-
nobody's like Langan. I mean, come on. You just talked about how
Others-
unique they are.
Others that try to be Langan. How's that?
The unique things we do are it's definitely going to be client satisfaction and being responsive. Client responsiveness is huge. I mean, that seems so basic, but
true.
especially in the world of survey.
Yep.
You know how many jobs we get because the surveyor hasn't called a client back for 2 weeks,
Right.
because they just, and it's a survey they've already done.
Yep.
So being responsive is one thing, but the way we can bring a lot of our data together to, like I was saying with the data fusion, to bring one product together that is seamless for the end user, but we brought it together with 4, 5, 6 different tools. And on top of that, we cross-train our staff. So you can have one survey crew go out there and they're going to fly it. And if we need a scanner out there, they're going to scan it. They know how to use the TRK, things like that. So we're not bringing 6 crews out to a job. Maybe we're bringing 3 people that they can all do that. And that takes time to get that in there. But that allows us to stay very competitive, too, on our pricing. Because it is absolutely about cost. It's cost and relationships in the private world.
So I would just to add to that, because we're private sector, our evolution was a little different with reality capture. So we don't necessarily chase a DOT mobile scan job or a DOT UAV job. We're like, okay, we have all these scanners. How can we do it more efficiently for just a traditional survey using the technology? And it also lets all the staff get exposed to it, so it keeps them engaged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not so segmented. And the last thing I wanted to mention was, especially Andy, myself, Sean. There's a few of us. We go out in the field still, and we like touch the equipment.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, my voice. We touch the equipment. We still impart knowledge on staff when they're technically challenging jobs.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, where you don't see a lot of companies, the senior leadership still go in the field.
Very true.
Here and there.
I get yelled at for wearing orange shirts at work.
He does.
I'm like, I was out on a job site this morning. People will be like, "What are you doing out on job sites?" I'm like, "Because it's my happy place.
Yeah.
I'll go out and do construction stakeout every day of the week, especially steel stuff that gets a little more complicated. But it's a good way to stay in touch with the equipment we're using, and it also is a great way to just have great relationships with your staff too. Which is
no question.
Because we can't do any of this stuff without a good team.
No doubt.
And you have to keep that culture up, and having folks like Russ and myself out there doing the work. We're grinding on a Saturday with these guys sometimes, and it's like, you know what?
Oh, it goes
it's
so far.
It's
it
huge.
does.
Yeah.
It's easy to, in my experience, to respect and follow someone that is willing to
Does the
do the
work.
sing thing that you're asking them to do.
Sure.
Well, you got to remember
Yeah.
where the bread is buttered, Like,
And
I mean, you guys are great, but you're not generating the revenue that your field staff are, right?
No. That's why it's not like we're going out every day.
Yeah.
He would if he could.
I would absolutely. I would have. But you know what? When we're speaking with our vendors, it makes it our message and what we're asking for, or the feedback we have on whatever they are selling and we're using is genuine, because we're the ones using the equipment. We're still doing it.
Yeah. And speaking of the equipment, like you guys have spent a lot of money on various digital solutions, right? What does the decision making process look like when you guys get a job, or even when you're proposing on a job, to determine which tool to use?
That's
Is it just like what's the funnest one? Like,
No. First we start by how can we do it most efficiently, but then it's not just how can we do it most efficiently. It's what do we actually have the ability to get done? Because everything in survey, it's got to be done in the next 3 to 6 weeks, or 2 to 6 weeks, or now, and or yesterday. So you have to look at, can we deploy certain pieces of technology, and do we have enough staff to do it? Do we have staff in that location? Does the staff in that location need some work? We might do something a little more traditional. But if usually it's coming in, we just don't have the staff, or I hate the term human capital, but we just don't have that. And so we have to start to go with technology, the technology capital, how we can do that. So, it's a combination of what's available, who's available, and what's the most efficient way to do it. But generally for pricing, we're looking at what's the most efficient way to do it first.
right. And if all things are equal, right, we work it back from accuracy with the design intent. like
Yeah.
Andy brought it before. So
Yeah.
it's a solar site, you know,
Like end user, what they're
end
going to be
user,
using
yeah.
it for.
So
Yeah.
we're talking like, you know, is it, you know, 600-700 absolute, or is it a quarter inch? That and we work it backwards from there.
Yeah.
And then but to figure out for us to understand which tool and how efficient they were, that cost a lot of trial and error and iterating, and that was years
We've
to
learned
get to where we got.
We've learned a lot of lessons
Yes.
along the way. There have been many failures.
When they say experience doesn't cost anything, but it's very expensive.
Yeah, right. Well, and to that note, like, how much are you still having to educate your clients on what tool or like what they need, and
All the time,
you know what
right.
what they ask for, and then what they actually are asking for?
Yes, because a lot of times it's somebody that maybe doesn't always know what that end deliverable is going to be, but they've had a checklist from something.
Yep.
One of the jokes I have is I feel like the folks in the renewable industry, they must have used to work for Lowe's and Walmart back in the day,
Yeah.
pre 2008, because it's the same survey checklist. I'm like, you don't need something this accurate for a solar field. Like, let's work on this, right? You don't need the Mercedes-Benz of Alta surveys for a renewable job in the middle of a cow pasture in upstate New York.
Are they just checking every box?
Yeah, let's just bring it down. It's education of your clients, which is a service to them too. So that, hey, this is going to save you a lot of money because you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't need the Mercedes-Benz. We're okay with the Chevy Malibu.
Sure.
Yep.
We're going to be good. Yeah. So it's the education and but not, you have to approach it delicately, because you don't want to make them feel silly, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's usually, if you go into it with the money conversation, that's a great way to start, because then their ears automatically perk up when they hear that. So
Well, it's like it's the money and the accuracy of what you're delivering and what they're actually getting, right?
right, and also you have to sometimes educate them about the product that they've been getting in the past that they think is really good, and it's just not.
Right.
Well, especially in this industry, 10 years ago is a lifetime of what, if they're still using the same specs 10 years ago. That is,
I'm like, publicly available LiDAR in some of these areas that's plus or minus 10 feet probably is not the best thing to be doing design off of. I get it for due diligence or some conceptual stuff, but at some point you got to get it, some.
but then millimeter on a 500-acre site is also a little much too.
Much,
Where you see it still a lot is the terrestrial scans of buildings. Like, there'll be some municipality or something, and they'll be like, "We want LOD 400." I'm like, you want that until you see the price. Like, there's no way you're going to afford it.
And the time it's going to take.
Yeah, so it's like, but they go to a conference and they see all the stuff, but no one explains like the cost.
Yeah.
And then what's the ROI on having
Exactly.
like light switches modeled? Like, do you actually need that? You know what I mean? So
and also sometimes it's not like they'll get latched onto something like an LOD. It's a level of deliverable, right? But they aren't looking at anything about accuracy.
yeah,
I'm
LOA.
like, I'm like, what's your actual level of accuracy? And it's
Yeah.
just like crickets. So you have to politely educate them, bring them up to speed, and then on top of that, recommend what you would think the best course of action is. And usually that's where we end up, and figuring out how we can get into the right price and the right schedule. But it's a conversation, and that's where that responsiveness is really important.
Yeah.
When they have questions, you need to be there to answer, even if it's at night, or I'm on the phone at 5 a.m. with contractors every darn day, and it's just it's part of it, because guess what? That's when they're available.
Sure.
So you need to be available.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the first thing they start with. First thing is, okay, where are we building this today? And they're like, oh no, this is not the right spot. And then Andy gets a call.
Yep. Exactly. Or hey, can you get a crew here today? Well, no, hold on. You got to give me like a day's notice.
Or are you usually, if you have the typical on a site where 3 times that something's wrong, and you prove yourself that it's not the surveyor doing it wrong, and then finally they stop automatically blaming you at first. You have to go there and defend yourself,
Yeah. Managing expectations, right?
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
So what's your opinion when it comes to like skills the next generation of surveyors need to possess to be successful at a firm like Langan?
That's a great question. And I communication skills are always our top. It's even for your field staff today. Everybody is either you're texting, you're emailing. There's a lot more communication that goes on in the course of a day than did 20 years ago when we had cell phones in bags.
Nextels.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So being able to effectively communicate what's going on a site or the question you have is really important. And then also, strong work ethic is always helpful, but just wanting to solve that riddle. if you're naturally just trying to figure out, because a lot of what we have, like Russ was talking about, these are just riddles. How can we get, the mobile mapping data to work with a SLAM scanner, with the drone data? How do we get that all pieced together?
Yeah.
And if you have staff that want to solve those riddles and have the knowledge base and want to learn more, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Well said.
Passionate and hardworking.
Yep.
That's why it's like the raw materials, and then you can shape that into whatever.
Yeah.
And especially
Raw materials. I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
In our industry too, a lot of people, kids are coming out of high school or 2-year community colleges, and surveying's a great career. I mean, we've all of us at this table have made a great career in the surveying industry, and you can always go back and get more education later. I mean, heck, I went to UMaine. I started at 40 years old, and I graduated at 44 to get my bachelor's degree, because I only had a 2-year degree from a community college. But surveying was a great career, and then I needed to get to that next level and have a little bit more education. You can do that later in life. There's that opportunity. So you don't want to harp on education. I always, because that excludes some really, really great workers that are passionate people that just need a little bit of focus maybe in their early 20s, and then they realize this is something we want to do. Yeah. And then you can get more education, especially now everything's online. It's great. Yeah. And then you can pursue that passion even more, and away you go.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
We definitely, collectively as a group, need to solve the problem of getting more young people into surveying. We've seen this coming for 20 years, and now it's upon us.
Yeah. And I think we're doing a good job of talking about it. And now now we actually have to pull in kids and actually do it.
I think maybe it's just human nature, but surveyors in particular, they don't really react until it's an emergency.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're a procrastinating bunch.
a day late and $1 short. No, so
that's awesome.
I know, a lot of the state societies, again, we talk about this with our survey leadership, because we're across the country, and we try to stay active in whether community colleges, 4-year schools, but also tech schools, or we've even started to talk to guidance counselors.
Yes, I've said that forever.
Just say the word surveyor to some kids instead of always going to engineering. Or
I think that's a key group that we need to really focus on. Actually,
great.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this is a great option for kids where maybe college isn't the right choice right off the bat.
Right.
Hey, let's get out there. You get your hands dirty. You get out working with the field crew.
Make some good money.
Go to community college, taking some CAD classes, and just work your way into it. Yep. That's what a lot of us have done.
Yeah.
But it's that messaging has to be there in high school, not just college. So that's where
we can't rely on people to fall out of their first career and fall into this. That's not a sustainable model.
Right.
No, not at all.
Although it's what most of us probably. But it's not a reliable model. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. What else? What else you guys got before we let you go?
Not much.
What about this week? What's your takebacks from the show this week at GeoWeek?
GeoWeek's been great. I know. It's so walking around with one Russell Hall is it's like walking around with a celebrity. Everybody and their brother's grabbing him, saying, "Oh, hey, Russ, how you doing?" So no, it's
and it's Russ from the Geoholics, right?
Yeah. He's gonna have it tattooed on his arm, I think.
I told Ken I'd do it. Ken has one.
But it's been excellent. Connecting with a lot of our existing vendors, looking for possible new ones, new solutions, and one of the best things is it just opens your eyes to, there's just so much stuff here, and you're just trying to think, what's the next thing we could do? Or, how could we use that piece of technology on this job? Last night, Russ and I were just walking around, and we were just talking about things we could use for jobs we have right now that we could try to maybe make it to some sort of a business model. It's great. So I highly recommend anybody, if you have the opportunity to come out to something like GeoWeek, especially younger professionals, if it's something that's relatively local to you, even within a couple-hour drive, well worth the experience of coming here for a day or two.
Very well said. Plus all the classes on top of it.
Yes.
SBRS classes and everything.
Yeah.
But and the networking too, to develop contacts in case you wanted to change careers or something, or
you never know. You might end up on a podcast.
You never know. Podcast.
Stranger things have happened.
And I'm pretty sure you can fall into a job in this room, right?
Yes. I'm pretty sure if you were looking for a job in surveying, there's 70 people that would hire you on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you were wearing flannel and an orange shirt underneath, you'd be like, "Yep, let's go."
This guy knows what he's doing.
Oh my, that's so funny.
Good stuff.
So true, though. Well, guys, thank you. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for
thanks for having us.
your support of the show as well.
Absolutely.
Look forward to working with you guys this year, and safe travels.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
much, guys.
Likewise.
All right.
Let's do this.
All right.
I am
This is gonna be
excited
good.
about
Yeah.
this.
I have no idea what direction this conversation is
I don't
going to
either.
go, but we're going to do the best we can.
I
for
love
sure.
it.
Quick self-introductions, if you would. Just give us your name, who you're with, and what you do.
Hello, my name is Madeleine. I'm with Geo-Plus. I'm a technical sales specialist.
Perfect. And
Hi, my name is William Myers. I'm Director of Operations with Global eTraining.
Global eTraining. Tell us about that.
So Global eTraining is a 17-year-old company. We celebrate our birthday at Autodesk University every year. We got started really looking for a way to provide training for AutoCAD to learners, and we're told that we couldn't do it because it was too complex. So we've proven them wrong and have grown with Autodesk as trusted partners, and are now focusing in the world of geospatial.
Oh, nice.
Interesting. And what is the connection between what you guys are doing and what they are doing?
Well, we've always been good friends with the folks at Global eTraining. And right now we're working hard to get a course for our software up onto their platform.
Interesting.
So,
So on your platform, and I remember, like, the reason I am familiar with what you guys do is because of the Autodesk stuff.
Sure.
But it's not just Autodesk.
Not at all.
No.
That's where we got our start, but these industries, AEC or GIS, it's not a single ocean. It's not a single ecosystem. And so in order for Global eTraining to stay relevant and vital, we need to be able to swim in all of those oceans.
So is the bottleneck like technology, or is it the industry's approach to training and change management?
I think the approach to change management is always the same. We're always, as an industry and as a collection of industries, interested in growth. This is a growth-centric industry, and technology is moving so fast that our job is to make it as easy as possible for experts in industry to compile, create, develop training, make it project-specific, role-specific, outcome-specific, and then get the analysis that proves return on investment.
Gotcha.
and that analysis is kind of where Geo-Plus comes in, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's always going to be a little bit of an investment for folks to learn some new software. So to have lots of training resources, it just helps everyone.
Yep. So you mentioned you guys are working on getting a course on their platform.
Correct.
What is the process? What is that process? Like, how do people get courses on the platform?
So we offer a content creation tool called the Generator. We've actually patented it, and we received a patent for it for its language translation tools. Geo-Plus, interestingly, is building the first French language course that we're translating into English for SEMA Plus. So it's a really exciting partnership. But they developed the content to serve all learning preferences, so visual, audio, read, write, kinesthetic, as well as a general learning cycle of lecture, demonstration, activity, and assessment. So a full cycle and full service of all learning preferences. And then we're just working together to make it the best darn SEMA Plus course there is around. And then we're going to flex our translation capabilities by bringing it from French into English for our English speakers.
Nice.
And it's just the beginning of our partnership. We're looking forward to a lot of amazing things together.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how long does the process take? Like, when will this course be up?
Imminently. I believe it's on the release path for the end of the month. Really.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how do we change the mindset from like training as an expense to like training as, a measurable ROI?
Sure. And that's really my job, is to measure and provide communication on return on investment, because training is typically an operational expense. So the mindset has to be that being in growth-centric and growth-oriented industries, our growth in industry is really dependent on our ability to learn and to grow. Lifelong learning is a philosophy I think that we all need to have and espouse in order to grow personally and within our careers.
Yep. And what's the goal or the objective for you guys having a course on their platform?
I mean, it makes it easier for everyone. So now we have kind of these tools that we can give to our partners, to our clients, to anyone that wants to learn. And it kind of removes a little bit of a barrier.
Okay.
So we're always going to offer training on our side, but this
that
is
was
kind
my
of
next
a
question.
supplementary.
Yep. Okay.
we're always going to help, create that really nice A to Z workflow, because our program is quite big. You can do a ton of different things with it. So how can we get you from kind of your initial scan to your finished field product in as little time as possible, because time is money.
Sure.
And along the way, how can we add in some other features over time? So once we have that really streamlined workflow, what else might you use? Like, how else can we make your dreams come true? And then having these platform programs, other people can see the capabilities.
Yeah,
absolutely. And our job really is not to replace a human subject matter expert, but to augment their ability to scale and to, again, prove that return on investment. But our global eTraining's job is to provide tools to elevate, augment, and scale up the training experience to make things easier to train and to grow.
Yeah. So I'm a surveyor.
Okay.
He's an engineer. We don't learn the same way.
Sure.
How do you adapt these classes and this coursework to like the masses, right?
Sure.
Because that's got to be challenging.
It is, but you'll find for the most part that people who learn with 4 defined preferences, which we've put into an acronym called VARK. So visual, audio, read, write, kinesthetic. In-person training sessions will have to have service of those learning preferences in order for people to retain the information, or at least even digest the information to start with. And so in order for asynchronous or online training to be worth its salt, or even a blended learning environment where you're using globally training content in an in-person environment, those learning preferences have to be served in order for the training experience to be worth its salt.
And so do you have training opportunities that are accredited, I guess? Can you get, CEUs and PDHs and that type thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Getting our started software training, it's more of a manual process because traditionally there's not a category for automatic PDUs for software training. However, we do have an expansive library of training content that offers OSHA certification, continuing education credits, PDUs, as you mentioned, and even project management professional credits as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
And you mentioned all the different platforms on Geo-Plus. Just looking at the website, there's like a bunch. Like, what's the one that sticks out, or what's the most popular thing right now, or what's the cutting edge that you can say?
I have 3 that work together as a turnkey solution. So there's Vision LiDAR, which is our desktop program. That's for kind of our geo nerds, our technicians. That's where you bring your initial scan in, do your nice classification, create your nice 3D deliverables, whether we're talking vectorization, 3D objects, kind of things like that. But then kind of when we go into the world of engineering surveying, we have a lovely plugin in the middle called Vision Plus, and that is a direct integration to CAD products. So, have your Vision LiDAR open on window, have your CAD open on the other. Anything that you draw in Vision LiDAR with that correct spatial ESPG code is automatically going to pop up in the right place in CAD seamlessly.
That's cool.
And then bring it all together on VL365, which is our SaaS app platform.
Okay.
Bring your point cloud, bring your spherical images, bring your CAD designs, put it all together. And this is kind of, send out a link to any stakeholder within the organization, give them the username, give them the password. They're easily able to just log on to the website, view the data, export the data. No need for that heavy desktop software for anyone that's not that technician.
Yeah. So what's the differentiator for you guys? There's other platforms that are doing similar things, let's say, but what separates you guys?
We have a product owner that's just completed their PhD in Geomatics with focus in AI. So shout out to Reza. Thank you so much for all your hard work. And the rest of the team, honestly, everyone's great. And we're small, we're nimble, we're 25 people in total. So we're probably like 80-90% developers within that 25. So we move very fast.
Sure.
It's not this big ship that you have turning.
Right.
But within this kind of new Vision LiDAR, we have the new AI algorithm. So you can create your own custom models suited for your data set. You'll always start out with 3 kind of generic models to start, and then you can build off of those. Once you're happy with it, save it in a Microsoft Explorer window, reuse it as many times as you want. Say the data changes just a little bit. You can tweak that model, re-educate it. It's like a child.
That's
it's
awesome.
Only going to learn the topics that it has been talked about. So
Gotcha.
if it hasn't been taught about a specific feature,
Yep.
let's just teach it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's awesome. Well said.
Yeah.
You're good at this.
Yeah.
Same question to you. What's
Sure.
the differentiator for you guys?
So it's really the analysis and reporting. I think we've keyed on the proving return on investment. And so the generator is a tool that is, as I mentioned, meant to augment and make the lives of developers easy. Many of the people who work in the generator are experts or operators in industry who have been tasked with, rewarded for their good work with more work, which is providing training. And so, we're using AI as well to help speed up the process of developing text, of the lecture portion, not as a way of replacing the human subject matter expert, but as a way of providing something that a human subject matter expert will stand behind as that trusted expert and say, you know what, this just saved me a little bit of time. I will stand behind this, and now I can add my intelligence and my human creativity to it, because the human really has to be at the center of the AI revolution.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's it worth?
Sure.
So, what circling back to this partnership, what do you think is the biggest benefit or the best thing that's come out of you guys kind of teaming up?
The partnership is just fantastic because it's a social proof. Having Geo-Plus's endorsement says to this ocean at large that global eTraining can be trusted. We're a relatively new element in this space, and so it's nice to be able to just work with trusted friends and get their endorsement and say, hey, we trust them. You can too. And Geo-Plus throws a great party.
There you go. That's awesome. Close us out here, Madeleine.
Well, for us, as we talked about, we will always give that kind of unique workflow, but I think it's really important for folks to see what other people are doing with the data. So,
so true.
I'm not doing that with mine, but that's possible, and I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
So that's great. And in terms of kind of Geo-Plus and global eTraining, always friendly faces at every show that we go to. It's like it's like the Geoholics. We come and it's our old friends, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's so much fun, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I
Well,
appreciate you looping us into that. That was very nice.
Well,
she's a pro.
I know, right?
She's a pro. What else? Anything else we didn't touch on? You guys want to get out there? How do everybody find out more?
Sure. Check us out at globaletraining.ca and learn more. Email me. Can I say my email?
Absolutely.
William M at globaletraining.ca. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions from your look at the website. I'm at your service.
Yeah. And Geoholics get a 25% discount. Is that the rumor I'm hearing?
I think I heard that.
Totally kidding.
I think it's actually 30, but we can talk.
That's great.
It's awesome. And what else? Anything else?
Uh,
How do people get a hold of you and find out more about Geo?
Yeah, we're active on LinkedIn. That's where you can kind of see what we've been up to. You can always check out our webpage, but it's generally best if you kind of send an email as well. Feel free to call, feel free to email. My email is madeline.janzen@geoplus.com. You might want to look up the spelling on LinkedIn. There's probably only one of me, but yeah, it's MADELEINE.JANZEN. Alternatively, you could call me, 514-758-0993.
Right on. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate
Great
you coming
conversation.
by. It's amazing.
Thanks for having us on. This
Of
was
course.
super fun.
You bet.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's get this one rolling here. This will give you a fun conversation, I'm sure.
Good old friend. Good new friend.
Good new friend as well.
I don't mean that disparagingly, Scott.
Okay. Thank you very much.
He didn't mean your age.
Right.
Of course he did.
Quick self-introduction. Name, who you're with, and what you do.
Okay, yeah. My name is Charlie Schreiner. I'm with ETM Surveying and Mapping in Jacksonville, Florida. I help manage most of our LiDAR projects, aerial, mobile, terrestrial, Navis projects. Very proud to do all that. I got a great mentor here, Scott Graham. He taught me just about everything I know about that stuff. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I'm Scott Graham. I'm the Chief Surveyor and a Vice President and Shareholder at ETM Survey. I've been with them about 14 years now.
14 years.
And like Charlie said, we handle everything LiDAR and everything public.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, we met originally at Topodot.
We did.
That's where we met. Yeah. That's right. So you guys have worked together for how long, you said?
It's going on 6 years now. Yeah.
6 years. Okay. And we were talking about it. One of the reasons I wanted to have both you guys on is because I was so fortunate when I was your age to have a mentor, much like Scott. And why don't you guys talk about the importance of that relationship and how it's evolved?
Okay. Well, I'll be kind. I first met Charlie when he was very young.
Thank you.
Young and dumb.
Yeah. But no, he had a drive in him that I recognized right away, and that made it easy. He was eager to learn and wasn't really caught up with, well, this is the way we learned it in school, or this is the way I think it needs to be done. He was open to learning just about anything I had to say, and it made it very easy to work with him. I think the best part about it is that I could really just tell him something once or twice, and he would take it and run, and then come back if you ran into problems or needed some input. And that dynamic has changed because he went from being somebody that I trusted in the field to now somebody I trust with running my projects.
Sure. Yeah. That's a really cool evolution, right?
It is.
So I'm sure he's not the first person you've mentored, right?
Not the first, but the first one that's really stayed with it and taken it to additional levels.
Sure. Yeah. And that was my next question, right? And kind of what are some of the good traits, I guess, for somebody, to be a good mentor? And then I'm going to flip it over and ask you the same thing. But why, what makes you a good mentor?
I quit being the angry old guy telling me to get off my grass.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, I can learn a lot from that too, though. So you never know.
It's kind of funny about the mentor conversation because Charlie actually met my old mentor yesterday.
Yeah.
Not knowing that he was my mentor. And
Did a lot of things start to make sense after that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got it.
Yeah.
Really, I think I go back to when I was being mentored and what it felt like, and that you want the mentee wants to please, and the mentor wants to help them advance. You have to lose your ego. You have to be able to say,
that's a good point.
Hey, I told you that, but there's another way to do this, and they'll come up and show you when they find it every time, and that's great. That means that they're thinking and they're learning, and that's really where it takes. But overall, answering to your question is that a mentor, you need to have the patience, and you have to be willing to, like I said, set your ego aside and really be devoted to helping people advance in any way that they can.
Absolutely. So turning it around on you then, Charlie, I'm going to talk about why this relationship does work and, what it takes to be a good mentee, because it's a two-way street.
Yeah. Number one thing, don't be afraid to ask questions. Even if you think it might be a stupid question, I'm sure I've been there. You don't want to bother your mentor too much. He's busy or she's busy.
Yeah.
But you can't be afraid to ask those questions. I guess what is the saying, Scott? It's like if you're not if you're not bothering your mentor or something like that, you're not doing a good job, kind of thing.
Sure.
You're not paying attention.
You're not paying attention.
If you're not a pain in the ass, you're not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's a big one. And then write things down. I'm someone who needs to write things down. I refer to it. I'll come back to it. So I'm not asked. I limit the amount of questions that I might have. And just don't be afraid to go above and beyond to kind of do your own research, your own deep dive. Googling, YouTube. We can figure things out on our own as much as possible. But just don't be afraid to come to your mentor as soon as possible, in an appropriate amount of time to kind of clear things up, clear the air. Bad news doesn't ever get better with time. You always want to present it.
I love that.
Yeah. And when you're learning, bad mistakes happen. I've been there. Scott knows it. And you just got to learn from them and take it all in stride.
Yeah. And own them, right?
You
got to own the mistakes.
Own it. Yeah.
Like you said, the bad news comment was perfect.
And it's not just mistakes. And Charlie's heard this story, but I'll tell it to you guys.
Yeah.
I don't think you have. But when I was a young surveyor, when I first got into the field, actually my second boss passed Jan and all, and I was in Florida, and I was a little nervous about setting property corners when we were out there doing a boundary. Because back then, we had our HP 41. We're figuring it out ourselves and calculating things out. And I was like, yeah, I think it should be here. And I'd calculate it out. And I took it back to the office and said, yeah, hey Dave, I think this is where I couldn't find this one. I think it went right here.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he got very, very mad. I'll delete all the expletives that he used. And said, well, if you would have set the darn corner, you wouldn't have to. There's a 50% chance you wouldn't be going back. Now it's 100. Just make a decision.
Right.
And so, even if there's a mistake involved, it's okay to make a decision, and that's one of the really hard things for a mentee to learn sometimes.
It's okay to make mistakes.
It's okay to make mistakes, but you need to be able to make a decision, whether it be wrong or right. You're going to learn from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk about the projects a little bit. You said everything LiDAR, everything public. So, what are some of the cool projects you guys are working on now?
Well, we just got out of doing the stadium. I mean, it's still kind of active. We're on call to go back in the Jaguar Stadium.
And that's public, right? How is that?
That's a Triple P project. It's a public.
Okay, right.
City of Jacksonville and the Jaguars.
That's always a fun one to talk about. And Scott knows all about that, of course. We both worked on that project pretty intensively. So
did you get season tickets out of the deal, or what? I mean, now it's a decent football team. Actually worth something, right?
I did not. No. But I think it's because they saw that I was a Bronco fan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So did you guys do like all the layout on that project?
We didn't do any of the construction layout. Our company in general avoids construction layout if we can. However, we did do monitoring during the construction phase.
Okay,
and
cool.
And on-spot as-builts, as well as they're going through the process where they exposed more elements of the stadium that were behind walls that they were demoing. We were called back in to augment our scans and update the point cloud.
Gotcha.
It was a situation where our point cloud for the project was actually being hosted on a website where the designers and the architects and engineers could see it.
Yeah.
And then they could make design decisions, not necessarily use the information for design to be able to check if there's clearances or things. But it was a very popular way, and it was able to disseminate the information very quickly that way.
I mean, for a lot of surveyors, that would be like a career-defining project to work on.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think I'm going to be talking about that one for quite a while.
Heck yeah, no doubt. What were some of the challenges that stick out to you on a project like that?
Well, it was we got the Navis right before that project came, and it was our first project with the Navis, and it was a big one. So learning the Navis kind of on the job. Thankfully, it's very intuitive to use, but the processing and everything, just like figuring it all out as we were going with tight deadlines we were trying to make for the Jaguars. That was probably the biggest challenge, and then just making sure our control was good. Control. Can't say it enough. There was a little bit of like resurvey, retraversing some spots here and there early on, just to make sure our control was as tight as possible. Our bench runs were all tight as possible. Everything was hard leveled through. So just being diligent on control, and that's what made the project really successful. Because without that, we wouldn't have as good alignment between different scans, different data sets. Because we're combining not just the Navis for mostly the interior work we use the Navis for, but we have the exterior work from terrestrial, from aerial. So bringing that all in together, that was the biggest challenge, but rewarding too, because we knew what we were doing, but you just got to look out for it when you would see an error or like a red flag, essentially. It's like, all right, we might have to, look into this a little bit more or go back out in the field, which we try to avoid, but it does happen,
Yeah, it was a true data fusion project.
And talk a little how did you merge all those data sets?
How did you manage those files?
Well, my IT guy's out of the hospital now. But it was a bit of a nightmare. We did have quite a bit of data.
It's like, did you avoid trying to go into his office like, hey, by the way, we had to go back and scan that. Here's another half dozen terabytes you have to deal with.
He could never let it get to that point. He'd just turn around and walk away. But no, it was and actually, because all the different sets of sensor data were kept individual, and then we did kind of fuse them together. So it was a continuous model, but we isolated the point clouds because different sensors, you have different parameters of accuracy and expectations. So we were using all of them in a seamed environment, I guess is the best way. So the Navis was strictly to the interior of the stadium. Exterior, we did terrestrial scanning and kept that isolated separate. So you could turn those on and off, but we did process them and merge them in so that it was a seamless model. So you could, and we did. If you would have seen my presentation, I had a model of it where we showed a colorized point cloud where we brought everything together, from aerial to terrestrial, and the Navis, and it was on the order of about 14 billion points. It was quite big. And it's big computers. We bought some big computers, not just for the stadium, but for our LiDAR work in general, because we do generate just terabytes and terabytes of data from that, so that those computers could handle it.
And you mentioned this like kind of in passing, but talk about how do you manage the different levels of accuracy when you're pulling these things together?
Well, you gotta. I think the expectation is, what are you trying to measure ultimately? Like, if I guess the best example I can give you is when we did the exterior of the stadium versus the aerial. Now, there's a lot of parking lot, but there's also a lot of green space. Right. And we basically pick a seaming area, like a sidewalk or a curb is a great spot where you can, your accuracy is better in this area than this, but you can seam those two, and you know that the measurements that you're going to get with the aerial data is going to be, in our case, it was like plus or minus 4 or 5 hundredths. Gotcha. With the terrestrial data, it's going to be plus or minus 2 hundredths. Yeah. With the Navis, it's going to be plus or minus 2 hundredths usually. Sure. And so knowing what the expectation of accuracy was helps you define where that data set's going to cover. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So what software did you use?
Multiple, because it was aerial and terrestrial, and so there was Cyclone was involved with terrestrial. Right. We used Regal as for our aerial, and then we also use TerraSolid software as a additional processing step for the aerial data because of the flight line to flight line matching capabilities we had. It's how we can tighten up the data sets, and then obviously the Navis for the their Ivion platform for processing that data. So it was it was quite a potpourri of softwares.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So what else you guys working on? You said the stadium's a big one, but what other kind of projects are?
Well, we do some of the mundane ones. We have contracts with the city of Jacksonville and other entities around where we do
nothing disparaging about the city of Jacksonville.
No,
it's not mundane.
Well, they seem like mundane projects compared to the stadium.
Sure,
it's strictly like we're on a contract to do engineering or surveying for an engineer that is doing traffic upgrades in intersections where they have an intersection where they have like a higher than average number of pedestrian vehicle impacts or just accidents in general. They need to upgrade that. So we go in and we do those. We scan those. But we also, because we're a large firm with large land development arm, we also get some pretty cool projects where we're using the UAV and we'll go fly 1,000 or 2,000 acres that they're going to be doing a master planned community on. We also were involved on a team this last year. The University of Florida is taking over our local convention center property and a few other properties around it, and they'll be converting that into a campus. So we did, again, Navis and aerial work as well as terrestrial work on that. So it's a real diversification of projects, I think.
Well, obviously you guys are dialed in, keeping up with technology and that type of thing. When you've walked around the show here for the last couple of days, what stuck out to you as maybe something that could potentially be a game changer for you?
Well, the one I noticed the most is dealing with point clouds and having banged my head against the wall back in 1999 trying to extract point cloud data. You see a lot more companies here this year that are doing extraction, but leveraging I won't say AI specifically, but it's like machine learned and HI, machine learning and HI for extraction to help. Because it seems like the real bottleneck in the workflows that when I've talked to most people here, not just at the show, but in Florida in general, that do similar work to us, that the office work, the extraction is where it can bottleneck on them real fast.
And I've actually seen that in RFPs that come out. It's not when can you be on site, it's what's the processing time.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everyone can get on site and collect data now because there's all these great tools.
Right.
But how long is it going to take to actually get something out of it? How have you guys managed that? I mean, is it coming to shows like this to find better tools, or what do you do?
Well, defining better efficiencies. It's not necessarily in the tools, but sometimes just talking to people and being able to fine tune your process that you're working with.
Right.
And that's where my job is the hardest, Susan, is to identify where we're being inefficient and how maybe we can get better. And a lot of the vendors here have helped me with that, and as well as a lot of colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about you, Charlie?
Big takeaway from the conference that I've seen, and it's kind of funny. We're looking at the extraction processes, and there are a few more than before that we've seen here, and we're excited about. But that is one of the biggest bottlenecks because we can collect data so much faster because we have all these toys, I would say. And that's my biggest takeaway is the number of toys we have in this exhibit hall. It is nuts. I mean, I got 4 or 5 of them in my view right here.
It's like $500,000 worth of toys.
Right. So that's definitely my biggest takeaway. I mean, I haven't been back here since like 2019. So it's been a little while, and I'm sure it has grown a little bit since then as far as the amount of companies, producing these UAVs and survey boats and stuff I'm seeing. So that's really interesting to me because it's like we have plenty, it looks like. I mean, I'm all for competition and getting better and better, but it looks like we have a lot of those. Now we're on the software side. We need to catch up a little bit and be a little more competitive in that market. So,
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. What else you guys got? You want anything else you want to get out there?
Well, I think the mentorship and having a succession plan.
You're about to retire, so someone told me.
I am. Yeah.
How was that? You talk a little bit about that succession planning and that process.
Well, if you don't have a succession plan, you're relying kind of on hope.
Yeah.
And hope really isn't a very good strategy to rest your business on. So
fingers crossed.
No. So, ETM in general, we have company-wide, tasked all of our leaders to identify people that they work with or that they can bring into the company that can follow, that they can train, and they can also follow in their footsteps.
Yeah.
Surveying, it's been a little bit more difficult there because of the multiple economic downturns that we've had. A lot of people left the industry and didn't come back.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a definite, I'll call it a Gen Z hole.
Sure.
Or a millennial hole.
Yeah.
Sort of that you go from one generation to the next, there's nobody there. And so if you can see with Charlie and I, there's a big age disparity. I brought in other surveyors that have experience of, 10, 20 years experience behind me, that are my interim solution. Mm-hmm. But ultimately it's getting people like Charlie and other young students, in college, freshly out of college, that they can intern with us, that we can identify and hopefully bring along and hire early on in their career. And then our philosophy company-wise is that we have a career path laid out, regardless of, there's not just one path for you to follow, but we have multiple opportunities for you to go into different directions. I mean, I've had a lot of survey guys decide they're tired of leading a field crew in the field and they go into the CEI route. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes I've had CEI guys come into survey or they pivot and go into land development. And so you're not locked in. And I think that's the key with the company, to have a good succession plan.
Yeah.
Is that you have the diversity to accommodate what people want to do.
Yeah.
As well.
Like, how soon in advance do you need to start thinking about a succession plan? Like, if you know you're going to retire in 5 years.
If you have to ask that question, you're behind,
Yeah,
right?
you're too late.
Yeah, but like, you're not going to, like, a year before you retire, probably be successful at having a good succession plan, right?
All
Like,
right,
you
I
gotta
guess
be- you gotta be thinking about
what
that.
piece of advice would you give someone
Well,
that is looking at retirement in the next
Yeah.
5 years?
There you go.
Yeah. Well, 5 years is almost too late to start,
Wow.
because there's a lot of knowledge in surveying, especially, I think, that, and engineering as well. There's a lot of things that that are inside your head that you forget to tell people sometimes. I mean, there's just, until the situation arises, and you go, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, really, my feeling is it takes 10 to 15 years to really be able to get somebody in place, work with them, and then be able to have them take over for you. So, I mean, if you really got to be thinking about it way early on, which is, and I'll plug, that's why you see a lot of companies probably right now being bought out. There's a lot of M&A going on, a lot of venture capital purchases, because those guys didn't have a succession plan.
That means you're already behind, Kent.
Yep. Story of my life. Well, guys, appreciate the conversation. Thanks for sharing the
always good to
mentor.
see you, Scott.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You too, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for sharing the mentor-mentee story.
Absolutely.
It's a good one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you guys, good to see you. Great to meet you, Charlie. And safe travels.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for having us on. It's a pleasure. Thanks.
All right, we got Rami with us.
Good friend Rami.
He's always like the last interview of any event we're at that he's at.
Well, because he's like the one guy that's busier than we are.
He's the closer. He tells us everything he's learned over the last 3 days.
Yeah, I can't wait.
This is awesome. But Rami, welcome back. Just real quick, give us your name, who you're with, and what you do.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. So I am Rami Tamimi. I am with a lot of different little projects, but
fill us in. Find out more about that.
So as a start, I'm a PhD candidate at Ohio State University studying geodetic engineering still.
You're one of those lifelong learners, aren't you, buddy?
I just don't want to leave. I just want to be a student forever. I've got my own YouTube channel where we make content about surveying and geospatial technology.
Yep.
We've got the survey school where I'm helping educate the next generation of surveyors. What else?
You just took a real job, huh?
Did take a real job. I am now a project manager at WSP USA.
Oh, nice.
So, yes.
Nice.
So talk a little bit about that. What's the position? What are you doing?
Yeah. So really, it came down to me trying to figure out where my priorities in life are and how can I simplify all of the crazy things that I do. So I spent a lot of time bootstrapped in multiple businesses, right? I'm running the survey school. I'm running my YouTube channel. I basically have to do my PhD research on my own. And I'm running a consulting business. And so doing all that, and there's only a limited amount of time and I have to get help in some areas. I started thinking, like, where can I kind of cut back on the responsibility of being a business owner, right? I want to do everything, but I also want to be effective. I want to make sure that what I'm doing is good quality. I'm meeting deadlines and I'm making everyone around me happy. And the minute I start to feel like I'm falling short or I'm just not able to enjoy doing what I'm doing, that's when I need to start looking for help. And so the opportunity at WSP was they are looking to expand their geomatics operations in the Midwest. They're looking for talent there, and they're looking for someone to be able to manage and run that group. And my boss John, we were talking, and he's saying, look, you basically can run your business through WSP. You're going to be in charge of hiring people and working with them and mentoring them and training them. We have tons of work and we need your help.
Right.
Someone who's an expert and knows the technical side but wants to branch into management. And you clearly have a knack for teaching, so it made a lot of sense.
That's perfect.
So they took good care of me, and I spent 1 week there, and then I came here. So, in that week, it's been nice. It's been very good. I've really enjoyed meeting everyone and getting to know all the surveyors and the engineers, and I'm hoping to meet more people when I get back.
Sure. I'm sure it'll be nice, like a refreshing change for you, and it allows you to still do what you love.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
they want me to continue running the survey school. They want me to continue making YouTube videos and educating the industry. So they're very supportive of the work that I've done, and
Well, it's a win-win for them too.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's kind of like us. I mean, we're very fortunate to work for companies
Absolutely.
that see us doing this as an advantage to them as well. You know, so
How's the survey school going? Talk a little bit about that. Like last time we talked, we were what, a couple hundred students?
Yeah.
Or,
We've still got that. Last year we brought 6 students with us, maybe 7 students with us.
Yeah.
This year we brought 20.
Oh,
So we've had
That's
huge
amazing.
turnout. Yeah, 20 survey school members at GeoWeek. We spent a lot of time together, introduced them to a lot of the companies that I work with. A lot of them are small business owners, and they're just trying to like figure out, how do I, take care of these problems that I have? I've got these projects I got to work on. What sensors should I be using?
Yeah.
So it was good for them to also connect with the greater industry. But big turnout.
Yeah.
We were very lucky.
another win-win. I think last time we talked, you were working on like accreditation or something. Is that still in the works?
So accreditation is a beast. And while it's definitely still something I want to do and something that I think that is a long-term goal, we found that the biggest priority is ensuring that there is a community of surveyors that they can work with.
Sure.
There's several age groups in the surveying industry, right? So you have your fresh graduates that probably went to college. They got some buddies that they can talk to and be friends with. You've got your old school surveyors that have been in it for 30 years. They're brothers. They can go to each other and work together. But then you have this awkward middle group.
Sure.
They're not eligible to be YSN members.
Yeah.
But they're new to the industry. Maybe they did a career shift.
Yeah.
And they're in their 40s and 50s. They're like, hey, I'm not young, but I'm not old, and I'm not at the average age of a surveyor either.
Right.
So they're in this weird funk, and they're like, where can I go to meet a community of like-minded people that are also trying to learn and educate themselves about surveying? And we found that was the priority for our school.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So while accreditation is important, and I'm sure they want to become licensed, they just want to be able to talk to someone and have a normal conversation about survey techniques and be able to figure out how do we solve these problems. Then there's some structure there that they can learn. There's some classes that they can take without having to pay university prices or worry about university bureaucracy. There's no deadlines by any means. You're an adult. You can just go on and study when you need to. So it's very easygoing. It's relaxed. And so I like this environment. I really do. And I'll always push for accreditation because I'm sure some people will want that, but definitely not prioritizing it right now. I think just building a community, trying to heal the wound that we have from Facebook groups and other toxic areas in our industry, trying to show the better side of our industry.
Is that where you see the biggest, and I know you just mentioned it, but that middle ground of almost converting careers or going from one career to another? Is that where you see more potential of growth in the business?
Yeah, because I have a lot of guys that come from VFX, right? So they have some idea of tracking and modeling, and they understand that. But then they realize, okay, well, if I want to get into the mapping side of things, I need to learn how to do it accurately.
Right.
So they're coming in with some knowledge in some area, but not as much in traditional surveying. So that's what they're focused on. You have your drone pilots that are okay, I've been creating maps, I've been doing all the things that traditional mapping pilots do, but how do I actually integrate surveying into this? Well, we have other pilots that are doing the same thing.
Right.
And then we have architects and engineers that have worked with surveyors, never understood exactly what surveyors do, and so they want to better communicate with either their clients or their colleagues, so they're in our community working with us, trying to better understand and build their skill set. So wide range of skills and talents.
Yeah, and that kind of that demographic you're describing, accreditation is probably not really important to them, right?
They don't really care.
They're probably not, in most cases, pursuing licensure. They're just going to be, a value add to the profession.
Right. And there's a number of states that don't have any education requirements.
Oh, yeah.
So
sure.
we have a guy that he has a degree in accounting. He lives in California.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to go back to school or anything.
Right.
But he wants to know what to study for the exams and to be a good surveyor. So he's in our community, and it's a perfect fit for him.
Yeah. Super cool.
What about this week or this show, the conference? What's your big takeaway? We've been asking everybody, what are people talking about?
Yeah, no,
this week?
absolutely. I mean, the sensors and the scanners and the GPS units, those are always going to be constantly evolving. So it's nice to see all the companies and connect with all the leaders in those corporations. I try to sit in on some more sessions just so that I can see kind of what's going on in the research realm. I published some research as well and did a presentation. So main takeaway I would say is the community is still alive. It's still strong.
Yeah.
There's a lot more potential. And it's always good to get together every year. So,
Yeah, for sure. What about any buzzwords or anything like new that sticks out at you?
AI, ML, Gaussian splatting. I mean,
no, that was so last year.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all these buzzwords, they get thrown around, but sometimes when you start asking questions that are related to that, there's just not as much.
Yeah.
I will say one thing that I'm like really excited for the future is municipal mapping using machine learning. So the idea is that we don't need to necessarily manually start to do inventory on signs and roadways and conditions of roads, that we can now do mapping work and AI models or machine learning models. See, I got to use the right term here. Yeah. Machine learning models have been trained to be able to recognize signage and different lane markers and different ways of structuring curb. And then when they are fed all the data for roads in a municipality, they can sort and organize and see, okay, where is everything? How many signs do we have? What signs need to be replaced? What areas of the road need work? So it's good for like maintaining a society, and it kind of ties into the whole smart city buzzword,
right?
Yeah,
the smart city digital twin, right?
Yeah, we're tapping into that now. So I mean, it's all connected. It's all the same, but understanding where does it actually make sense and where is it practical, and then for us as users, where can we tap in to be able to make make an impact? Whether it's from the research side or from the data collection side, how can we contribute to this? So,
Yeah, good stuff. And like digital twins, I kind of feel like 2-3 years ago, like that was all the rage. And then kind of went quiet for a little bit, but a lot of digital twin talk.
It seems like we're hitting that implementation stage where it was an idea. It was a great idea 3-4 years ago, and now it's like, oh, here's this is actually what it looks like, and it's part of that inventory. And one thing that I think I've talked to municipality a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned that, and their plan literally was, well, we have 2 guys that go in the field and do that now, and they're about to retire, so we're just not going to replace those guys. We're just going to move to mobile mapping and do it automatically when those guys retire, so they don't have to pass it on to it. We're not going to hire a new guy to go out and inventory signs. We're just going to use the LiDAR for that now.
That's awesome.
But now you're dealing with a large amount of data,
right?
And you're going to need to hire someone in house to be able to sift through all that data and figure out, hey, do we just have a gigantic point cloud, or do we actually have information that we can benefit from?
Yeah, it's a net zero, because they're not replacing the guy going out in the field. They're just adding 2 more IT guys in the office to deal with all the data, data they're getting.
Welcome to digital twins.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. What else? What else are you looking forward to? I mean, you still have a ton on your plate.
I do.
You just added to it with this new job.
Yeah, no, I'm always looking forward to graduating. So
is there a plan there, Rami?
I mean,
do you have a target? I mean, I know you have a survey school that has no real deadlines, and that's kind of the point. It's casual.
It's a casual environment.
Are you taking the same casual approach to your master's and doctoral?
Not the intent. I'm repping Ohio State today. Hopefully, gonna get some brownie points. Maybe help me defend. Well, here's where because
we're going to call you Dr. Rami here.
No, you're not.
Eventually, right?
No, never. Even after I get it, just call me Rami. The bottleneck. The bottleneck. That's the right term, right? Yeah. What that I'm facing right now is I fell into this research project that has been just a giant can of worms. Don't get me wrong. I'm so excited to work on this, but it's a lot of work. I'm trying to map and do mobile mapping work with Tesla dash cams. So I'm trying to take the dash cam footage, turn it into data, feed it into like a photogrammetry engine, and then create a point cloud just by using dash cam footage. So I just explained something that probably takes 5 years to do. But
it sounds like it's just that easy.
That sounds easy enough.
Just do it, right?
What's holding you up?
Right? So I've been in that process. I built a software to synchronize sensors and do analysis on the accuracy. And, we're generating a point cloud. It's completely terrible, but it's a point cloud. It has a couple million points in it. 75% of the data or the images that I input failed to calibrate, but that's okay. I mean,
sure,
25 did calibrate. So you got to look at the positive side of things. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to finish that up. I'm trying to basically put together a very strong defense. I want to take pride in my defense. I don't want to just slap something together. And so I'm hoping in the next 12 months I'll be done. But it's a process, and I need to earn it. So
Well, good for you. You'll get there, I'm sure.
What are the big goals this year for you?
Big goals this year. I want to grow the school. I'm going to be bringing on 2 new professors.
Okay,
so
great.
We're going to
Nice.
have 3 live calls now. One with me, and then one with each of the professors. So you can tap into the live calls if you're a part of the community. Very knowledgeable guys. One guy is going to be doing least squares adjustments and very knowledgeable with network adjustment. So I think that's a big help for a lot of people.
Nice.
The other one is going to be doing GIS. So I'm not as familiar with GIS. I'm in the survey industry, so they have been immersed in it, and so I think that they're going to be doing a good job there. So delegating out tasks, trying to scale the school so that I can focus on my job and focus on my PhD, and then also just make more YouTube videos. We have a lot of great partnerships.
Which you're really good at, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of great partnerships, and we want to make those partners happy.
Yeah. And back to bringing those other 2 people on, always hire people that are smarter than you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially when I don't know something, I just this is the hole, and I need you to help me fill it. And we want to make the school whole. So.
Awesome. Well, always good to catch up.
Yeah,
Appreciate your time.
We're going to see you again more this year, I'm sure.
Probably Germany for Intergeo.
Absolutely.
What other shows are you guys going to?
We're going next month. We're going to the Western Region Survey Conference.
Okay, nice.
Be there, and then after that, some sponsor shows. Topodot. Be there.
Hexagon.
ASPRS.
Yeah.
Be there. Yep. Hexagon. That's right. The usuals. Yep. So
if I catch you, I'll say hello.
Of course. We'll see you.
I'll definitely see you in Germany.
All right.
Sounds good.
Safe
Always
travels.
good to see you, buddy.
See you guys.
Take care.
Yeah. Thanks for everything.
All right, man. What do you
Let's
think?
do this.
Yes, I think this is more than likely going to be our last one.
I think they're going to kick us out of the conference here
well,
after this
there's
one.
that. Yes, but for all the right reasons. Thank
Just
God.
turn the lights off.
Right. All right, we're going to have a great conversation here. If you guys would, real quick, self-introduction, name, who you're with, what you do.
Sure, and we're honored here to be the last ones. I am Mike Liggett. I'm the owner of Aerial Ethos in Portland, Oregon.
Yep.
And we do lots of aerial LiDAR, photogrammetry, terrestrial LiDAR,
Nice.
GIS work, and primarily working in the architecture engineering space. Work with civil engineers, surveyors. Come from a big construction background, 26 years in commercial construction, so I bring a lot of that to the table when I'm sitting down with
for sure.
surveyors and architects.
It's a great background to have for what you're doing now, for sure. Good.
Yeah, and I'm Scott Harrigan. I'm the owner of Harkin Aerial, and I'm on the other coast. I'm on Long Island, around the New York City area.
Yeah.
And very similar story on what we do,
Nice.
drone, terrestrial, LiDAR, all of that. But my background is as a mechanical engineer.
Oh, mechanical. Okay.
Yeah, originally tried to sell drones to my firm, and it was like 2016, and they were into it, but I was more into it, so split off to run my own firm, and most of my clients are surveyors, civil engineers, architects.
Okay, nice. So how did you guys connect?
Who wants to start?
Well, I mean, so Scott was at one point, maybe you were, he was at Virtual Surveyor, if you guys are familiar with
Yep.
So I use their platform, and Scott was working there, and every time I called, I just had some really deep questions. He's like, "You want to do what with it?" And you want to, because I've always had this niche for like taking a piece of software and doing something with it that maybe they didn't intend to do with it because that's just
Pushing
the way
limits,
my brain
right?
works. Yeah. And Scott, so we always had these really deep, engaging conversations about that. So after he left, I continued to reach out to him, and every time we would connect, we just had so much to talk about. Everything related to the industry. And we're like, hey, we should, maybe we'll get to this, but we should start a podcast. And you guys, frankly, were, an inspiration for that. But that was kind of the impetus for it. And Scott, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, yeah. Mike was asking the right questions, and credit to my, to my old team at Virtual Surveyor, who was like, okay, not really a question about the software, but he's asking the right questions, like interesting stuff about, you're almost asking more the business side of it as much as the technical side of like, what do you normally see? What are people using it for? And we just stayed a ton in touch. And after that, I forget how we first started chatting afterwards. We probably never stopped. I feel like we're just talking back and forth right through it. And then I was like, hey, I'm actually back, my own drone firm. So we should start talking way more.
Yeah.
And it's cool. We really like the West Coast, East Coast shared
yeah.
vibe here because we kind of just share like war stories from okay, this is what flying New York City is like, and then this is what flying around Portland is like.
Yeah. And we've actually found opportunities to work together too. So I've got to do work for me and vice versa.
Cool.
So we're actually trying to combine forces to broaden our impact because I think we both kind of smaller firms but punch above our weight. So I think combine that together and I think we could be pretty potent in the space. So that's been kind of fun. We actually. Interestingly enough, we've spent hundreds of hours, Scott, talking virtually, and we hadn't met until just
this was the very first time we've actually met. Yeah,
that's amazing.
2 days ago. Yeah,
no kidding. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, no one ran away. I thought he was going to say, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but we had a great conversation yesterday. We had some time to peel away, sit down, and just brainstorm around some things, and things that we've been successful on together, like cultural preservation, architecture, stabilization. Like we both have a pretty impressive portfolio of projects that we've modeled and laser scanned and so we're thinking about maybe we can continue to grow upon that too. So
gotcha.
Yeah, and those projects are a little more unique, I would say.
Well, expand on that a little bit. You guys have similar client bases, so you do similar type of work. What's the temperature now for architects and civil engineers on getting a lidar data and scan data? Like what are they reaching out to you for in the beginning?
Usually it's topographic, when they have a challenging site and, they don't want to walk the entire site. And so, typically for me, when it's on the civil side and survey side, it's for topographic work. So I, obviously work very closely with the surveyors on that and tie into control networks and those types of things. So I would say that's the initial request on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think to add to that too, yes, and what I'm seeing more and more of is an architect will say, I know what a point cloud is. That's what's interesting, right?
And you're like, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, which is wild. I think it used to be a much heavier, we scan, we do the point clouds, we'll do CAD floor plans, all that jazz, but they're starting to say, no, like I know there's software we can look at a point cloud online and look at the photos and do an inspection. So it's like they've already painted ahead the road, so it's gotten easier. It's way easier than it used to be to actually get these folks what they want.
Yeah. Oh, now would you say they are starting to know what they want more?
Better, yeah. There's still plenty of hand holding, right?
Okay.
What a point cloud can do, and the resolution, that's still a story. But yes, I think it's a little more like they're ordering off the menu, but they're like, all right, I know what the entrees look like. They're not just like, what's good?
Yeah.
Well, and if you look at the theme of the conference here too, it's I don't know how, percentage-wise, it's all about LiDAR. It's all about point clouds and what to do. And ultimately, I don't think people still really want to interact with the point cloud that much, except for us nerds. I think they want what the point cloud ultimately gives them, and that's surfaces for Civil 3D or some of the vector work and things like that. So
right. So speaking of the conference, what have you guys seen that has kind of made you think differently, maybe?
I'll just say. I tried to do a little of what I know and then a little of what I've never seen before. And what I've never seen before is I've never seen a VXL imaging system up close. And I was just blown away by what manned aircraft can do now. And so I was just actually spent way more time at that booth than I expected because I'm not, we do drones and all that, but I was just absolutely blown away by the resolution and the LiDAR systems they're getting on the manned aircraft side.
Yeah. At what point is that going to, supersede drones?
Right.
I think there's still just the deployment of it. It's still a heavier lift to do that. But, I think the democratization of the drones is still pretty compelling.
And the project size is going to go down to where manned is going to make more sense, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, exactly. I think so. And it's a trade-off. The line is blurred more than ever before.
Sure, yeah.
You bring up a great point there because I used to say there was a time where it was 1,000 acres of drone.
Yeah,
no, absolutely not. And I'm still probably a manned aircraft, but I've warmed up to it. I've seen successful thousands of acre projects done. We're just talking about that with pretty affordable systems all in all, and I'm kind of my mind's changing a little bit on that. But.
Well, it's like the initial approach is changing. And so in my experience, it's I don't know anything still, so it's always ask the question. I can't assume, this is this size of project or this type of project. This is the tool I need. I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
It's always, all right, what makes the most sense? And you ask somebody, right?
Or, what is that person using that you want to partner up with on that project?
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it's it might take me 5 days with the drone, but hey, it works for this project.
Right.
As
Yeah,
opposed to
exactly.
getting it-
And I can get it out next week.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
great
that
point.
weather's coming. And snow has been our enemy this year in New York, so I'm just waiting for it to melt. And we had a lot of projects we had to slip in before the weather came.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We have the opposite problem on the West Coast.
I
We don't
know,
have any snow.
exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the podcast a little bit. What's it called and how did it come about?
Site and scene, like job site, and in a scene, so SEENE, so Site and Scene podcast.
Love it.
And we started wanting to focus on the tools and the technology and the workflows that are deployed in our industry. And again, you guys were definitely inspiration of in a lot of ways. And it was kind of interesting because as we got into it, we have one season under our belt, and we have north of 1,000 downloads. So it's not too shabby for getting off it. We matured throughout the season, I think, and we started getting guests in the studio, and we had some really, I would say, some heavy hitters on the show, like the lead scientist for the Nature Conservancy over the Caribbean District, and they were talking about mapping coral reef and mangroves and after the hurricane. So we had some really fun guests. So it's just been a great process for us. As you guys probably know, it's a lot of fun to get to meet people. But I want to just say one thing, Scott, I'm sure you got a lot to add too, is that, maybe after like 4 episodes, we were tiptoeing around certain subjects as it relates to like the environment. And we're both very like focused on, using our businesses for good and for environmental reasons. So like, we want to put more purpose and intention into that so that we, I would say the second half of the season, we really put more of a focus towards like how the tools that we're all deploying can be used in more like environmental and sustainable ways for how they're being used for good. So, and at the time too, there was like so much news about drones flying over New Jersey and all that stuff, or just like the military connotations related to drones. We want to change that perception a bit, and like here's how these tools are being used for good. And it's not just drones, so I think we try to curate that focus as well, and I think that's something unique that we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. And that broke right about when we had that interview with Stephen Schill, was the lead scientist, the Caribbean Division Nature Conservancy, and that was about the episode where like, no, this is the right. I don't know. He was just a fantastic guest, and that was where like, we think the environmental and sustainable bent makes a ton of sense. Yeah. Half my clients are environmental engineers anyway, so like they're gonna love it. It's like people I know are gonna love it, and people coming learning new stuff are gonna love it. And it's a nice niche, It's tough to find. It's a lot of noise in the. I mean, look everything here, right? So carving out like what's the fun bent that makes this just something you might want to listen to you hadn't heard before.
Right. So how often do you guys record a show?
We're on our soon again. I got to get my butt into gear, but we were doing about every 2 weeks when we're in the full motion there. But you guys got to give us tips on how to power through hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
It's a grind. You just got to do it. You just got to do it. I love the concept of having a season that. Instead of just continuous like we've been doing forever.
Well, you guys get breaks too. I mean, a little bit.
No, we don't.
Not really.
Federal holidays.
The mandatory ones.
The mandatory
paid
ones.
time off.
Yeah, paid time off. Right. Which we need to renegotiate that. our own PTO policy.
It sounds like you guys enjoy it. I mean, that's for sure.
It's a blast.
So, what are some of the challenges that you've faced getting a podcast off the ground?
Time. I think it's really time, and oddly enough, being in Portland, it rains a lot in the winter. So I always plan to have some backup workflows in the winter. But this winter, I had more revenue in January than I did my busiest month last year. So
that's what everybody is saying.
Things are good. So we haven't really had a ton of time to get back into our second season as of yet. But we're planning on it. We're getting guests lined up. So I think it's the challenge wise is. It's the editing on the back end of it, and carving it out. So
right. What do you love about doing it?
It's meeting new people, right? I mean, I've now stayed very close colleagues with several of our guests there, and have worked with them. It's like made new friends, made new business partners, and I didn't know if that would. I didn't go in expecting that. I was like, it's great. Yeah, we'll have guests. They come, they go, and that's it. But I'm amazed how many people have just stuck around and want to be like, I still want to touch base or just run ideas by you. So that 100%. So I keep the Rolodex, of course, of people always.
It's amazing what an hour conversation will bond somebody together, and then you're lifelong friends from just an hour chat, right?
Yeah, totally agree. And for me too, I'm very similar. And then I get to spend time with my good friend Scott here.
That too, exactly.
Nice. Awesome.
Oh, and we interviewed Russ too.
Yes.
Russ
That's going to make the show take off, but by itself.
Exactly.
So we had a great chat.
He was fantastic.
So what's been your big takeaway from the conference here this week?
For me, I like seeing, we talked about the density of this data. It's like, what are the tools now that are enabling us to really extract from that more efficiently? So a lot of the automatic classifications of point clouds and those things, because I've done plenty of classifying point clouds, and it's clunky at best, even with the top people. So, I think that combined with some of the AI, AI things that are coming down the pike here, I feel like that's pretty exciting for somebody who's, small business punching above their weight, like anything that we could do to help streamline some of those. So I think some of that was pretty exciting to see.
Yeah. And what about you, Scott?
Yeah, it's the LiDAR. I mean, it's always the LiDAR, but more the fact that, again, small business punching above your weight, that I can't believe how affordable it is, and that we can get good and cheap, sort of. We're getting close. Used to be a lot of great systems, but they were extremely unattainable price-wise, and here were really lower-end systems that kind of didn't get the job done. And I feel like now this happy medium is finally coming out, where I'm like, I could grab that in a year. That's a purchase that makes sense.
Yep. That's awesome. Very good. What else you guys got?
Yeah. How do people find your podcast?
Yeah, I find the easiest way. We're on LinkedIn. That's an easy way. And honestly, if you search me, Scott Harrigan, top thing on my profile there is Sight and Scene. I post it regularly. Every time we have a new episode, I throw it out there.
Yeah, and LinkedIn's good, and I think we have a link tree too, like that. We usually share that link, but it's Sight SITE and Scene SEENE.
Okay.
Podcast. So
love the name. It's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah,
good stuff.
We'll find that, and
that was Mike too. That was on Mike. I give my you take the credit for that one.
Yeah, good fun though.
Yeah, anything we can do to help you guys out, be happy to do that, of course.
Well, maybe we can have you guys on our show.
Would love to.
We would love to do that.
We would absolutely do it.
I don't know how much value add we would, but
we'd have fun.
Well, we'll have some fun. That's right. Yeah,
that's the goal.
Right, that is the goal indeed.
Yeah. Turn the tables on us.
There you go.
Love it. Good. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Well, thank you guys for being our last interview.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you.
Excited about this year and more content you guys are pushing out.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yep.
Thanks
Safe
so
travels.
Much.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you guys.
Take care.